Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 239 based on novel. So let's start. Virtual Universe Primal Region, Luo Feng's Villa. Luo Feng sat before his desk and opened his laptop, gently tapping open the mail. You've completed the 4th level of the highest point mission. The members have made their judgment and you've acquired a completion rate of 70%, getting 280,000 points. This is the end of the highest point mission. Luo Feng frowned. Only 70%? During these 4th mission, especially regarding the matter with his father's judgment, he had indeed simply deemed him innocent. However, he still sentenced the rest of the members fairly. Let's see what the comments say. Luo Feng continued reading the mail. Evaluation: you were sent to sentence 21 people this time. However, with regards to your father, you didn't even capture him nor did you interrogate him. You didn't complete the 4th level mission at all. It's obvious in your bones, you heavily respect your father, and didn't wish to sentence him. Even though your father is obviously innocent, he still cannot avoid responsibility. Jailing him for 100 years should be the lightest punishment that should have been carried out, yet you judged him innocent. When it came to public and private matters, you were biased. We only give you 70% completion this time. We hope you will be clearer on business and personal matters next time. After finishing the evaluation, Luo Feng didn't feel any different within. For Luo Feng, who had reached the limit in mental state training, even if Hong or Thunder God had tried to convince him, it would still be hard to move him. It could be seen how stubborn he was, or how strongly he believed in his ways. He closed the mail coldly, opening another new mail. Reward for highest point mission? Luo Feng smiled and looked. If all levels of the mission had a 100% completion rate, he would get 1 million extra points. According to the performance of all 4 levels, we will give you 600,000 extra points. We hope you can use it wisely. Luo Feng was moved within. An extra 600,000 points? At this point, his total points would be 82,000 from the 1st level, 180,000 from the 2nd, 300,000 from the 3rd, 280,000 from the 4th and an extra 600,000 for completing all 4 missions for a total of 1.442 million points. It was 72.1% of the total 2 million points he could get. It didn't even hit the marginal 80%. The score was obviously just average. Overall evaluation: even though you massacred over 1 million in the 1st level, you were still clear enough to spare the innocent. This proves that you are very calm even when you kill. And despite your bloodthirst, you still chose the 10 billion weaker people to save. This shows you pity the weak. The 3rd level showed that you aren't afraid of strength. You'd rather not submit and follow your beliefs in finishing the mission. Bloodthirsty and yet calm, also showing pity for the weak and are unafraid of fear. If only your 4th level had done as well as the first 3, we would have given you an extra 900,000 points as bonus. However, during a similar mission of judging 21 people, only this time it was against your family, your change however shocked us, especially against your father. You didn't even wish to judge him, not even catching him or putting on a show. It's obvious that your family's influence on you is huge, to a point where you cannot distinguish your personal matters from the rules and law. Humans are social creatures and should indeed respect their family. However, everything should be done within a certain level of expectation. It's obvious that you have crossed that line in this aspect. You should be more aware of this. The highest point mission is now over. As to how the virtual universe company viewed him from this mission, Luo Feng couldn't be bothered. Excessive in this aspect? I respect my father too much? Luo Feng laughed coldly. What a joke, what a bunch of arrogant idiots. Under his 1st and 2nd brothers' guidance, he had carefully studied ancient books from China, gaining a sense of clarity from them, and many ideologies had resonated with him. Since ancient times, there was a saying in ancient China that of all virtues, filial piety comes first. Filial piety was of the utmost importance. Even with the many changes in dynasties and eras in ancient China, they all uniformly agreed that anyone who were disrespectful or disobedient to their parents should die. There were even punishments such as flaying or slow deaths for such actions. It was obvious the level of filial piety was respected at a very high level. In contrast, in modern eras, especially during the new eras, not taking care of one's parents and even hitting them had become common. However, without the background of ancient Chinese culture, people didn't think of it as a crime at all. Luo Feng, however, trained in mental states. He had always respected his parents from young. After which, when he found himself through mental state training, he understood more of the ancient history texts. Like during the spring and autumn era, there was an incident of which a son reported his father for stealing a goat. The son, however, was punished instead for not being filial. Qinghua of ancient China was incredibly strict and heavy on its rules. It was, however, more lax on being filial, with the entire country lacking the most basic respect. How could its citizens truly be loyal? How could the country be steady? Hence, both of them had naturally collapsed. There were many stories regarding this in history, but it all showed one thing: filial piety. It was humanity's most basic element. If a person couldn't even do this, and was bad to his parents, then how could he be loyal to anybody else? Especially to a country? For such a person, if he wasn't brainwashed, he was extremely selfish. If he can't even be filial to his parents, then within his heart, there would never truly be anybody he respected other than himself. Extreme selfishness. Of all virtues, filial piety comes first. Even if my father had sinned, I will bear it for him. I will also advise him to change. As for punishment, as a son, I will never do it. Luo Feng thought, separating business and personal matters? Maybe what the virtual universe company needs is one that would perfectly execute its missions, and one that would never disobey their orders. Even if it involved family, their mission importance should still exceed that of even their family. This is probably what they need. A pity. The company's orders are not even worth a fraction of my father's importance. Excessive? I don't think so. Luo Feng thought. The next day. Virtual Universe Company, Black Dragon Mountain 9-Star Bay. Luo Feng sat with his father Luo Honghua and mother Gongxin Lan. Dad, Mum. Luo Feng poured tea for them. Why have you called us over today? Gongxin Lan looked at their son, smiling. Luo Feng smiled and changed the subject. Dad, Mum, did you two build a Nirvana union in the virtual games? How do you know? Luo Honghua's eyes gleamed as he heard. He said, that grey snow world is incredibly vast, it makes one go dizzy within. I can ride a flying beast and fly through endless snow worlds. Hee, a million-strong army clashing against each other is just too cool. The word cool was something his father's generation often used. Ha ha. Luo Feng saw his father's excitement and couldn't help but laugh. For his father to live the life of his dreams, he was already very satisfied. Dad, Mum, let me show you something. Luo Feng said. After which he brandished some information with regards to Nirvana Union's people killing others. After getting the data from the information department, with Luo Feng's questioning, he had confirmed that the information was the lowest level of information, and with his position, he could show it to them. What is this? His parents looked on curiously, as they received the file and looked at it. They grew silent for a while. Luo Feng sat there and patiently waited. As they stared at the file, their expressions grew uglier, even to the point where Luo Honghua slammed the table fiercely. His eyes were gleaming as he cursed, bastards, a bunch of ingrates. I treated them as my life and death brothers, I didn't expect them to use me. Xin Lan, when you advised me not to be so trusting before, I thought that all these were simply within the virtual universe, and that we can eat, drink and kill others without any repercussions. How thrilling. I didn't expect. I didn't know. Dad. Luo Feng saw the state his father was in and knew he had taken quite a blow. Luo Honghua sat down, his eyes pained. Gongxin Lan sat beside him and consoled him. So many people died. Luo Honghua's voice shook. Dad, you can only be blamed for your poor judgment of character. However, the ones truly responsible for killing are those bastards. Luo Feng said. But they used my position and power. He shook his head. Wrong, in truth. They are using my position. Luo Feng said. If it weren't for me, why would the Black Dragon Mountain Empire and Ganwu Universe country avoid and fear you? Luo Honghua felt extremely bad within. Luo Feng was very clear that showing them the data would hurt his parents badly. But despite that, he still had to show them that he had to admonish them. Dad, Mum. Luo Feng changed the topic to take their minds off it. I'm about to leave. Leave? The two of them looked at him curiously. Doesn't he leave often? I will be going away for a very long this time, at least 1,000 years. Luo Feng emphasized. Hence, it will be quite a while before I can return to Earth, even the virtual universe. I will only come once in a long while. Where are you going? The two asked. Primal Chaos City. Luo Feng replied. He had been there before, hence his parents knew some simple things about it. After the highest point mission was completed, Luo Feng had immediately requested to head to Primal Chaos City. As a core disciple, during Universe level, Domain Lord level and Sector Lord level, he could enter to train there. Luo Feng's request naturally went through quickly. After which, through God Country teleportation, Dylan sent him straight to the Virtual Universe Company's main headquarters. After which, he took the company's ship along with other Undyings and entered Primal Chaos City. Dylan and the other guards couldn't follow. According to his plan, when he left Primal Chaos City, he would already be Sector Lord Pinnacle. When that happened, he would no longer have a guard team. Meaning, at this time, the guard team had left him for good. The universe was evolving all the time. The Primal Universe, however, was a small universe that was in its early evolution stage. There were many splits and tears in the space with thread-like crystal energies flowing and repairing. Each time it repaired, it would tear open again and repeat for eternity. Primal Chaos City was the only ancient city within this entire universe. Rumble, an oval ship stopped in the air above, its cabin door opened and a large group of human silhouettes flew out. Amongst which, a green-armored Luo Feng was mixed within. He wasn't noticeable at all. 100 people flew out. A black beam of light flew over to greet them. It was a black-robed man with green scales covering his head. This man smiled malevolently. I am the emissary of Primal Chaos City. Most of you aren't here for the first time. Those familiar with the rules of Primal Chaos City can carry on. I believe you know what to do. And for those that are here for the first time, please follow me. 22 silhouettes followed the black-robed man as he led them away. These 22 were those that had gotten in through auctions or other methods and were here for the first time. And the rest of the 100 headed in their own directions, dispersing. Luo Feng gently landed in a spacious pathway. As he looked around, he noticed that the distant balconies had large amounts of warriors sitting cross-legged and training. Sector Lords and Undyings could be seen everywhere. However, most of them were Undyings. As for the energies emanating from them, even the Sector Lord energies, since these were Sector Lords training in Primal Chaos City, they were much stronger than the normal Sector Lords outside. Primal Chaos City, humanity's sacred training ground. Luo Feng exclaimed. Just from the sacred training ground one could see the difference. The Gold Horn race's sacred training ground was simply a piece of land carved out from the world they lived in. Humanity's sacred training ground, however, was a primal universe specially used to hold 52 primal chaos tablets, and the leader of the city was one that far exceeded the power of the doyens in the Gold Horn race. This was humanity, a pinnacle race in the universe. Very good, this a good training place. Luo Feng looked around. I have to choose a good living spot. I'll pick somewhere close to teacher. After a while, Luo Feng picked a quiet spot about 1,000 kilometers away from his teacher's residence. Once he walked near the white entrance door, he gently placed his hand on it and it triggered the system. The color began to change to a dark gray. From then on, Luo Feng was the owner of this residence. Every room within the quarters was spacious. Even though there were rooms within, large amounts of the warriors still sat cross-legged on the balconies. From today on, I'm going to live here for over 1,000 years. This will be my home. Luo Feng followed the staircase up and quickly reached the balcony. The balcony was close to 100 m wide, much bigger than the field he had in high school. There were random scribbles all around the balcony. These were obviously left behind by the warriors that had trained and stayed here before in history. Luo Feng believed that someday he too would leave behind his own scribbles. He sat cross-legged, feeling the coldness of the balcony. He looked up at the skies. The primal energies revolved in the sky, tears stretching across the skies with complex engravings and threads of energies flowing about. The laws were visible and it was calming to one's soul. From today on, I will be here on this balcony for a long time. Luo Feng smiled. After returning to the first floor's living room, the service AI of the place had already prepared a hot pot of tea. He lay on the first sofa, lifting the cup of hot tea. He gently smelled the fragrant tea and sipped. As he drank it down from his mouth, he felt the warmth spread throughout his body. After which, he began to think at an incredibly fast speed. He loved to sip tea and ponder at the same time. I now have the Beast God statue and the picture of the large sleeping Beast God, Time Space Scribbles 3rd volume, Floating Snow, Nanshan Armaments 36 levels, Illusionary Techniques, Deities of the World, Absolute Space, Ancient Pictures, and Sky-Tearing Claw. I also have over 6 million mixed elements and over 1 million points. Luo Feng pondered on all his possessions. He clearly planned out his training. Normally, sector lords would all begin to create their own techniques and their own weapons. Luo Feng was prepared to hit sector lord level in Primal Chaos City. Since his law comprehension now was already at a very high level, he could begin to create his own technique. Techniques were mostly separated into study and battle. The study type was basically used to aid in raising one's comprehension of the laws. The higher the comprehension, the stronger the power. The laws were akin to internal strength. The battle techniques, however, were more about the usage of these laws. When learning the same laws but with different usages, one's strength would definitely be different. Law comprehension was the inner work, the techniques were blade work, etc. Of course, these were just examples. The Golden Horned Beast's technique is the Sky-Tearing Claw. The Mosha clansman uses the illusionary techniques. The Earth Body uses the Nanshan armament. As it slowly gets more and more ineffective, I will begin to study the Nanshan 36 levels and create a better technique for myself. As for time-space scribbles, the Beast God statue and so on, these are all for my comprehension. Even the deities of the world is a strengthening technique. Law comprehension is the absolute. Hence I will spend most of my focus on it. When they reach a bottleneck level, then I will study the battle techniques. Luo Feng thought, that will be the way. After planning out his long-period stay, Luo Feng left his living quarters and headed to his teacher Tru Yang Emperor's residence to visit him. The entrance to the residence was wide open. The scanning system on the door scanned Luo Feng and confirmed that he had the right to enter, naturally not stopping him. Luo Feng sneaked into the residence and quickly reached a 10 kilometers wide and long plaza. There, close to 1,000 warriors had gathered and were respectfully sitting and listening. Ahead was a golden armored ape-man sitting cross-legged, explaining the 9 universe tablets' 4th picture. Teacher? Luo Feng thought within, not daring to disrupt his class, and he sat in the corner. Tru Yang noticed an additional Luo Feng in the corner as he taught, smiling before he continued on with his class. After a while. Today's class ends here. Tru Yang said indifferently. Thank you, teacher. The close to 1,000 warriors all bowed respectfully below. Tru Yang Emperor sure is powerful. I've already comprehended the 5th picture, but hearing him explain the 4th picture still gives me greater insight. Looks like I haven't fully comprehended the 4th picture. Completely comprehending it is really hard. I heard that the 1st of March pictures have a total of 108 wonders, and fully comprehending these 108 wonders is 10 to hundreds of times harder than simply finishing the 4th picture. The warriors all discussed and dispersed from the plaza. Luo Feng, however, walked up to his teacher. Junior. Junior is here. It's been a while since we've seen you. Tru Yang's 10 disciples there all smiled and waved at Luo Feng. Luo Feng waved back. These seniors of his were mostly official level undyings, and many of them were at official pinnacle. However, it was a pity that none of them had formally reached emperor level yet. Normally, an emperor pinnacle level person can easily ask people to help and get the official level pinnacles to be named emperors too. Tru Yang had high expectations of his disciples, hence he never did such a thing. He regarded it as a disgrace. Luo Feng, follow me. Tru Yang said. Yes, teacher. Luo Feng said respectfully. My seniors, I will formally greet you all later. Luo Feng bid goodbye to them and followed Tru Yang, arriving in his quiet yard. This yard was a few kilometers wide and long. It was simply a grassland. Tru Yang sat cross-legged within casually and said, Sit. Luo Feng obediently complied. Have you completed the highest point mission? Tru Yang smiled. Luo Feng nodded. Tell me about it, including the final evaluation, etc. Tru Yang said. Yes. Luo Feng said respectfully, the 4th level mission was. He explained in detail about the points he got, evaluation, etc., not hiding any details about it at all. Tru Yang was displeased as he heard the story. This group of idiots, they really expecting a son to lock his father up in jail? Will they only be satisfied that way? Luo Feng was stunned. His teacher was scolding them as idiots? If one doesn't even protect his loved ones, then what's the point in training? Tru Yang glanced at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, stick to your beliefs, don't be poisoned by those punks. Our upper echelon of the virtual universe company has indeed become very rigid. Do they wish for all the warriors to simply be their pawns? HMPH, the strong are strong because they are independently strong. And those upper echelon, they only show themselves once in a while. Luo Feng blinked at his teacher. Ha ha, why, you shocked? Tru Yang laughed, exclaiming, your teacher has a bad temper. Back then, I had kicked up such a ruckus that they didn't have any choice but to toss me into Primal Chaos City, not giving me any authority or status. However, as I am hidden here, I don't have to take their orders. Unless it's truly a grave matter, otherwise I don't have to bother with them. Luo Feng laughed. His teacher had once kicked up a ruckus regarding his matters, he knew very little. How long are you prepared to stay in Primal Chaos City this time? Tru Yang asked. Until Sector Lord level. Luo Feng said. Are you giving up the other missions? Tru Yang was shocked. During Domain Lord level, the company would occasionally send missions. Luo Feng had currently only completed 2 of them, one giving him 200,000 points and the other was the highest point mission which could at most give him 2 million points. There were others to do still left. However, if he stayed in Primal Chaos City, he naturally couldn't do any more. Luo Feng nodded. Tru Yang sat cross-legged on the grass, pondering a while. He nodded. All right, since the highest point mission is over, the other scattered missions at Domain Lord level all only add up to so little points. You wanting to train in Primal Chaos City is good too. Since you are prepared to train to Sector Lord level, then I've prepared a gift for you. A gift? Luo Feng was shocked. Tru Yang laughed carefree. You are my disciple, and Sector Lord is the most critical training period of time. If I don't help you now, can I still be called a teacher? Enter the virtual universe, I'll pass you a manual. Yes. Luo Feng nodded excitedly. Virtual universe primal region, Luo Feng's villa. Luo Feng stood in the villa and looked up. A silhouette flew straight towards him. It was Tru Yang Emperor. In his hand, he held a 2 m long and wide large metal briefcase. It felt like a shipping container altogether. This is? Luo Feng was stunned. The normal handheld briefcases were much smaller, yet his teacher carried such a huge one. How many manuals were there within it? Come here. Tru Yang brought the briefcase straight into the living room. With a toss, bang, the huge briefcase fell on the floor of the living room. A Sector Lord needs to create his own techniques, and a Sector Lord's comprehension speed is the fastest. Hence, you will need the highest levels of technique manuals. Hence, I have exchanged for a bunch of manuals for you. Tru Yang laughed loudly, pointing at the briefcase, seemingly proud of it. Teacher, I can exchange for these manuals myself. Luo Feng had just begun to speak. Tru Yang retorted, you think your little bit of points is worth anything? You could at most exchange for some very basic manuals, you wouldn't be able to exchange for any true powerful manuals at all. Time-Space Scribbles is but an assisting guide, yet it's already worth 100 billion points. As for the true study and battle technique manuals, those with absolute top-notch power, your 1 million points is useless. Luo Feng couldn't help but choke as he heard. 1 million points is useless? For someone extremely close to becoming a knight like Tru Yang Emperor, this made total sense. Look carefully. Tru Yang walked forward and immediately opened the huge briefcase. Rumble. Its metal lock was opened and within lay many thick books. The thinner ones alone were about 20 centimeters thick, the thickest being 1 m long and wide and half a meter thick. They were completely dark gold in color and were made of metal. There were a total of 3 such metal books within. Just these 3 books took up a lot of space, the rest were scattered about within. There's a total of 106 normal techniques manuals and 1 valuable one within. Tru Yang laughed. The 106 books are cheap, adding up to a few million points only. They are mainly to assist you, some are for study while others are for building weapons and techniques etc. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed and nodded. These 106 techniques, they seem to cover just about everything. As for this one, Tru Yang pointed to the neatly arranged 3 dark gold books. This is expensive. 1 set, 3 volumes. Every volume was 1 m wide and half a meter thick. How expensive is it? Luo Feng asked. 8 billion points. Tru Yang smiled, looking at Luo Feng. Luo Feng stared wide-eyed. My God! 8 billion points? This bit of wealth was enough to be an entire Emperor-level Undying's fortune. Of course to the Emperor Pinnacle, even a normal knight, it was still something they could afford. Even so, this was still a huge gesture from Tru Yang. Luo Feng was completely stunned by the amount. An Undying could use money to exchange for points, 1 mixed element for 1 point. This was akin to 8 billion mixed elements, even for an Undying, it was a huge amount. Because of Earth, Luo Feng had signed a deal with the Virtual Universe Company. However, that amount was split up and was to be distributed at 3 occasions. Before undying, he would get less than 100 million mixed elements. Only after becoming undying would he get close to 50 billion mixed elements. However, the golden horned beast was extremely hard to break through to undying. Who knew when that would ever happen? Ha ha, just from this 8 billion points, I spent a good half of my points. Tru Yang laughed. He didn't hide anything from Luo Feng. When I want to exchange for something in the future, I probably have to use my money. Teacher? Luo Feng said, I cannot accept this. Back when his teacher had persuaded him to get the time-space scribbles, he had told him that even he couldn't afford the entire set, and that was worth 100 billion points. It was obvious that this 8 billion was a huge sum to him too. And in truth, Tru Yang naturally didn't have many points. However, just like Luo Feng, who had the Luo holy water and close to 10,000 blood river crystals along with other treasures, Tru Yang Emperor, as an absolute warrior, naturally had many treasures. The worth of his wealth was much more than a normal emperor level undying. If he was willing to sell some treasures, he'd probably have a lot more. Your teacher is now at the final step before becoming a knight. The materialistic things are useless now. Tru Yang shook his head. I haven't spent much over 1 trillion years, and it's been easy for me to nurture your seniors. Your seniors, however, I've never spent more than 1 billion. You are the most. Luo Feng looked curiously at him. Why? I've seen your blade work, your control of the Nanshan armament, and your claw techniques. Tru Yang emphasized. I discovered, whether you are conscious of it or not, your fusion of the gold and space laws are extremely ingenious. Hence, I know this valuable manual will fit you well. Luo Feng couldn't even force a smile. Fusion was ingenious? He had been studying the beast god presence, and it was a pinnacle-level fusion of the gold and space laws. After having a grasp of the beast god presence, he often sought help from his teacher. During his demonstrations he would display some of its flavor. This manual will definitely fit you well. The moment you have some progress in it, your power will catch up to mine. Tru Yang's eyes were filled with anticipation. If you can catch up to me, even against normal knights, you won't die. Work hard. Tru Yang rubbed Luo Feng's head, laughing loudly, after which he vanished. Luo Feng looked at the briefcase full of 106 normal manuals and one valuable one, for a total of a few hundred books. He felt extremely grateful within. Teacher. Your student will always remember this debt. Luo Feng decided to return the favor the moment he achieved anything. Over a long period of time, Tru Yang's family had all long died, hence his treatment of his students was like a parent to his children. A teacher like that was very special, and now he even gave Luo Feng these valuable manuals. One had to know that if Luo Feng were to fall along the way, everything would simply be wasted, yet he still did such a thing. This was also why his students were all very united, no one wanting to ever hurt their teacher. 107 manuals, a total of 582 books. Luo Feng swiftly brought all of them over to his study. 106 normal manuals, buying them through the treasure trove actually requires close to 6 million points. Luo Feng was shocked. Even though these manuals were normal according to Tru Yang, in truth every one of them was still stronger than illusionary techniques. This valuable manual. Luo Feng looked at the top 3 dark gold metal books. Their covers only had the words 1, 2 and 3 on them, representing each volume. They didn't have any other information. Luo Feng gently flipped open the first volume. Its details were: through the primal universe's evolution, over 1 trillion races have been produced. There have been many mysterious life forms, of which there's the powerful beast god. This beast god is a super being developed by the universe itself. Its body is a fusion of the space and gold laws. A slash or whip of its tail, or even a head, but all has the universe laws melded within. Wu 11 Luo Duo has studied the beast god's 7 techniques to create the Nanshan 7 forms. Beast god's 7 techniques, Nanshan 7 forms. Completing the first of March levels, one will be invincible amongst anything below the knights. Completing the 1st of June levels, one will be invincible amongst anything below the universe masters. Completing the 7th level, one can become like a true beast god, akin to a true universe master, standing at the pinnacle of the universe. Creating the beast god's 7 techniques, Nanshan 7 forms, he only finished the 1st of June levels. The 7 is purely imagination, it isn't truly perfect. To become a true beast god, as powerful and invincible as it is extremely hard and difficult. He hoped that the later generations of the Gold Horn race would be able to perfect it and complete it. Luo Feng was stunned from the book. 11 Luo Duo? The greatest being of the Gold Horn race? Completing the 6th level meant one would be invincible amongst anything below the Universe Masters? 7th level was akin to a Universe Master? Such a terrifying manual, is it not as expensive as time-space scribbles? No. Luo Feng was shocked, quickly flipping through the 2nd and 3rd volume. He couldn't help but feel a sense of regret. His guess was right. These 3 manuals were simply the first of March levels of the Nanshan 7 forms. So it's only the beginning. Yet, finishing these 3 and 1 would be invincible amongst anything below the Knights, and these alone were worth 8 billion points. Luo Feng exclaimed. He now truly understood just how powerful the great 11 Luo Duo was. It was no wonder that he alone could support the entire Gold Horn race. He had reached a level where he was invincible amongst anything below a Universe Master. Universe Master? So Void Gold Master, Primal Chaos City Leader and the Beast God, they are all the same level? Luo Feng pondered. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.